I represent radio now. You know, when we're talking about dancehall music, we always assume it's kind of a Jamaican thing, but I'm very happy to be blessed with an artist today who's blurring the lines. He's taking the dancehall sound, taking his style from Nigeria and making this incredible fusion. We're joined right now on Zoom by Young L. How you doing, man?
Good brother, how you doing, bro?
We're good, man. We're good. I'm so blessed to have you here. Like, the
Thank
album's
you for
just
having me,
dropped.
man. Thank you for having me. Yeah,
Man, it's our
I'm
pleasure.
excited, man. The album is out. I've been working on it for too long, and I'm just excited that it's out, man.
As are we,
Excited,
man,
really.
because it's an incredible body of work, and I'm going to get into
Hmm.
each track and talk about each sort of part of it very soon as well. But I just want to say, like, it's
Yeah.
an incredible sort of journey how it's come from here, because you know, like as you said, like you've kind of adopted the Mr. Marley persona, the Yardman Young on this kind of
Yeah,
thing. So what's
yeah.
been your kind of affiliation to the Caribbean scene as an artist based in Nigeria?
Honestly, it all started from where I grew up. Because when people talk about Nigeria, people just think about Lagos, because Lagos is like the biggest and like the hub of like entertainment in Africa and Nigeria. Well, I grew up in Jos, which is like the northern part of Nigeria, and there we're very big on dancehall and reggae. So even from a kid, I just it's on the radio, like people on the street, or some of them, most of them, a lot of them have dreads. Like they have the culture that they just live in there. There's a full on team community of that. So I grew up listening to a lot of that, and it just stuck with me. I didn't even know what it was when I was growing up. I just knew that I loved this kind of style of music, and they played it a lot on the radio. So then I started just making music generally, and I just found myself always, putting dancehall and reggae in my vibes. It was not something that I planned to do. Basically, what I was exposed to and what I grew up on. Yeah,
It's definitely worked well with the Fuse as well, because you're saying that obviously
yeah,
you're
man.
from Jos in Nigeria, which is 16 hours drive
Yeah,
away from Lagos, so it's not even like just up the
yeah,
road. Like this,
exact.
it's a
Nah,
whole different culture over in Jos. So
bro, it's about almost 2 hours by flight.
yeah, so I think people forget how big Nigeria is until they work out like how far it
Exactly.
would take to get from one side to
Yeah.
the other. So Jos has got
Hmm.
us a very what's so unique about Jos, because we've had artists like Chopsticks and Ice Prince also from Jos as well, who you've worked closely with.
Yeah.
What's the scene like in Jos, and what's so unique about it?
I think it's the first of all the weather is the coldest part of the nation. It's cold. Lagos is hot, like extremely hot, but just is like cold, and just they're more artistic. People just grow up either most of them you find that they're either artists or footballers or authors or um, people that are involved in arts basically that grew up in just. I don't know. I haven't really understood why, but a lot of people like international artists that me all started from Jaws. It's I'll blame it on the weather and the people. They are very accommodating and they love art, they love music, so they love expressing themselves. If you're walking on the street in Jos, you literally see a normal guy on the street all dressed up, swagged out, and he just going to like his friend's house on the other street. Like they take all those things very serious. So I think that just translates to the music. You get me?
Man, well, it's a culture that I definitely want to embrace. I definitely want to see firsthand. Like, for me, it's definitely
Mhm.
somewhere I want to be. So, kind of growing up with that as your upbringing, then, like, I know one thing, you're quite the multi instrumentalist. You weren't just a vocal artist at all. You
Yeah,
really put your work into learn other
yeah,
instruments. How has that kind of shaped your sound today? Like, how do you feel that
yeah.
being a musician before being an artist kind of like inspired you?
Um, I think because um, I wouldn't say it inspired so much. I think when I talk about my number one inspiration musically, I always say it's the radio. I grew up listening to the radio, and in Jos where I grew up, like they play all genres of music in Jos. They play dancehall heavily. There's days where on the radio you hear country music. There are days where you're listening to jazz for like 4 or 5 hours straight. There are days where they're playing hip hop. So like you're influenced by so many genres of music. Like my playlist can go from Fela Kuti to The Killers to Maroon 5 and down back to Shabarangs. Like they
Right.
play, that's how they play on the radio. It's like so much. So when you now get in the studio, you find yourself just moving, just being flexible in the sounds. Like you can do dance or you can do hip life. But what I mean, I just find myself a lot in dancehall. And yeah, basically J Town is one place that I'm most grateful for. So myself, Chopsticks, Ice Prince, we've been working back when we were in Jos before we moved to Lagos. So I'll still have to do more research to find out why J Town is that way really.
Well, I'm glad that it's kind of created this whole fusion that you've sort of built, because really I've seen that you've identified your sound as Afro Zim. Now, can you tell people kind of how would you best describe what is Afro Zim?
First of all, Afro is like African because I can't run away from it. Like you hear like pidgin in my language, in my music, you hear small Yoruba, small Igbo, small Hausa, different language because I'm a full Nigerian, I'm full African. So you hear some Ghanaian music in me, that's already Afro. When I talk about the Zim part, it's that part when I talk about how I was influenced growing up. Zim is like, I have songs that are gospel songs, that are like hip life, high life. I have songs that are like rock records and like dancehall rock. I have records that are like Afro beats, Afro pop. So the Zim is like the different genres we dabble in. Like I always try to call myself like the genre bender. I always try to bend your genre. When I get in there, I'll bend it to fit kind of what I do in a way. So that's the Zim part. It's like I can jump on a rock record, like Yaadman, for example. Yaadman is like a drill. It's like a drill mixed with dancehall, and that's what I'm trying to do. Like that's the Afro Zim. Like, yeah, I didn't come to the record like a hip hop artist or like a drill artist. Like I came in like a dancehall artist, but you know, you still get the reggae in it, you still get the dancehall, but you still get the drill. So that's why I just coined the word like Afro Zim. It's that mixture, that flavor, really.
And I like how you've done that as well, because if you look back to songs like Tropicana Baby, you also have kind of like Jamaican patois words. You've got words like bombastic and things like that in the lyrics as well. So I'm seeing a lot more of like an Afrobeats Jamaican link up. We've seen artists like Stonebwoy, for example, teasing out that he's been working in Kingston. So what do you think is kind of creating this fusion, especially in recent years? I'm seeing more of this happening recently.
I think Afro beats and African music and Jamaican music and Caribbean sounds are not far from each other, really, when you think about it. One thing about us, we like to dance, we like to party, we like girls, we like being happy. So we have that same vibe. So it's easy, and the tempo is not far from each other. So it's easy for us to just blend in with that Jamaican music. And I think from way back, I always know that Africans generally, like Africans come first before Jamaicans. Like Africa is the center, it's where it all started from. So it's only right that we're going to dabble into some South African music or dabble into some Jamaican music. You know, I mean, it's only right because at the end of the day, it's one sound, basically.
And it's something that I really love, especially as a DJ, because I know before the lockdown, before COVID and for that, when I was playing parties, I would definitely use your music as a great way to transition from Afrobeats into dancehall or dancehall into Afrobeats in a DJ set as well. So this kind of is something that's been kind of ongoing for a while, because I remember, I think it was probably 2017 when I really noticed you, and that was on the Major Lazer remix of Run Up with Nicki Minaj, Party Next Door. I think, was it Chopsticks and Scales were on there as well?
Yeah.
So that was a huge record at the time. So what was it like to, at that time, represent Afrobeats music to the world? Because I feel as if a lot of people, that might have been their first introduction to the new sound of Afrobeats that we know today.
Yeah, it was great because I was in love with the original record already, the one Partners on Nicki Minaj. So when I was asked to jump on the remix, I had to come heavy because I knew this was going to be a massive record. A lot of people, as you said, that haven't heard about Afrobeat sounds and wanted to see what it's like when it's merged with, like American music and stuff. So it was a perfect blend and it sat on properly, and the song is such a huge record. So I'll always be grateful for that, opportunity to put Africa on the map. That is, so yeah.
Definitely, man. You've done it so well as well, because I feel like with the whole world loving the new kind of Afrobeat sound, because it's absolutely huge globally now, where do you see the future for Afrobeats, especially in your style of like the Afro Zim? Like, where do you see that evolving to in the future?
I think Afro Zim is going to get to a point where I don't like when they try to classify us in a way where we're just like acquired taste. I think African music generally will get to a point where it's mainstream. It might not look like it now, but it's going to be mainstream. Everybody's going to try to get a piece of it in the music, in whatever you're doing. So that's why I say Afrozim is the future. You find country artists doing some R&B or some rock artists putting dancehall artists on a record. You know what I mean? Or like Afrobeat artists putting in, just like what we're doing with I'm a Piano now. That's what it's going to get. It's going to get to the point where everybody's going to be making Afro Zim. It's like African music, but it's a mixture with so many sounds, like pop sounds, like K-pop mixed with Afro beats.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like Caribbean music mixed with hip life or high life or piano. So that's the future. It's like Afro Zim. It's going to be so fluid that you can just find your way through different genres, basically.
That's great, because I'm already starting to see it develop now. Like on the last Gully B show here in Represent, we had Runkus on the show, and he just dropped his new album a couple of weeks back as well. And there's definitely those Afro influences on the instrumentals, and he's an artist in Jamaica. So it's good to see that it's like there's so many artists jumping on this kind of sound, and I'm loving that you are the icon for the Afro Zim genre, really. So
I'm grateful.
Man, like you've definitely helped highlight so many of these genres to new people. It's the fusion that helps fans of one genre find something new. So I think what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And especially last year, I know that Eve Bounce off of your Juice and Zim projects, that was definitely the thing that turned a lot of people's head, because they knew that the Eve and Gwen Stefani Let Me Blow Your Mind sample. So before we talk about the remix, how did that beat come around? Was that something like how did the whole project of that track come about?
Yo, the whole project is, I was trying to do something that makes you remember. Because as I said, if you listen to my music, that's what I always tell people. When you listen to my music, you know that I have such a wide range of music sounds. And that's because of how I grew up. So I can say something in a song that I might not remember where I heard it, but I know this thing from when I was growing up or something. Like, it was really just a medley of songs. Eve Bounce was just a medley of songs. Like I just remember growing up with. So that's basically, I hit up my producer TUC, who is like one of my main producer, me on the chopsticks, and I told him, yo, I want to make a dancehall record. And he's a young boy. He's young, so he don't even know about some of these records that I'm talking about.
Right.
Like when I tell about some old school, like when I tell him, oh, do you know Super Cat or like Shabarang's first single, he was like, no, I don't know it too. I was like, okay, this is the bounce. I want it this way. Then I'm going to start it. It was so weird to him because if you're not very big on music, you might not get Eve Bounce properly. It's so retro, but it's so like new school. So he didn't get it. Even when we put it on project, he still didn't get why I'm so going on this. I don't want to do like new school dance. So I was like, yo, there's a feeling that I got when I listen to some certain songs, and I just want to make that feeling again. So we did Eve Bounce, and it was great that the response, even the original response, was crazy. People, when they just hear that beginning part of Eve, dum, 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 you're just like, oh shit.
That's where I came in from. That's what got me onto it.
Yeah, man. You hear the dancers and na 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 na, all the vibes. So it's like a medley, and I'm so excited. People actually got the record, and it became a big tune. Also,
it became a very big tune.
Made it the biggest song.
The
biggest song, and
we see Wizkid jump on the remix. So how did the remix come about? Was he already just a fan of the song? Did he reach out to you for that one? Like, what was it like working together on that?
When the project came out already, he already reached out to me. He was like, yo, the project is wicked, but Eve Bounce, that's my song. I was like, for real? He was like, yo, that's my tune. So when the lockdown started, and we were both on Twitter one day, so we were just, having fun on Twitter, and I just hit him. I was like, yo, I think he like posted that he's bored or something. So I was like, yo, are you down to do the remix of Eve Bounce? He was like, yo, that's my song. Like, don't even play with me. I was like, yo, let's go, man. So I sent it to him. I sent it within 4 or 5 hours. Wow. I just got a message on my WhatsApp. Like, he already told me, yo, check it out. So I understood how the song record hit him. It's like, he got on the vibe of the song. You know what I mean? He came in and it was seamless when he jumped on the record. It was just seamless. So I'm grateful to Wiz for that, man.
And I love how quickly you managed to turn that around. You said you'd done that within about 4 or 5 hours during the lockdown that we saw last year. And I feel as if that's one thing maybe lockdowns helped happen. Like, look at you and I talking right now on Zoom. Like, we normally have to wait until you were in the UK doing like a promo run or something like that before we could make this link. But I feel that instantaneous, let's make creative things happen is maybe one benefit. And obviously, the tune blew up. Like the track was already big anyway, but then as soon as you had Wizkid on the remix, that was the one that turned everyone's heads.
Yeah. It's such a big record, and shout out to Wiz for coming through, and not only just coming through, but killing it massive. So shout out to my boy Wiz. Big love, star boy forever, really.
Well, so much so that you featured it on the brand new album that has literally just came out last week, Yaadman Kingsize. Here we are, the huge project, the sophomore album, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I want to just ask you straight away.
Finally.
It's so good. The first question is just straight up, do you have a favorite song?
Whoa. Nah, man, I don't. I don't have a favorite song, honestly. I love all the records on the project because they all have some attachment to me, all the records. So it's hard for me. Maybe I'll answer this in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. But right now, I'm in love with like everything because all the songs were specially chosen. So
I can understand exactly what you mean because there's so many different styles in there. You've got some very fun party songs. You've got a lot more like harder tracks like Op and Boy. And then, of course, you've got the very conscious lyrics on tracks like Rasta, on Yaadman, Police and Thief. So let's talk about the fun songs first because we've already spoke about Eve Bounce and with Wizkid on that one. But like one of my favorite ones is the UK link up you've done with Womanizer with Tiggs to Author. So how did that track come together? How did the collaboration happen?
Yo, first of all, Womanizer, that's one of my favorite songs in the project, not gonna lie. Womanizer is a song, shout out to Chopsticks for coming through on the production, really. Chopsticks came in and literally, I told Chopsticks, like, yo, where are you? He was like, he's at home. I was like, yo, I have one record that you need to produce ASAP. Please link up my yard. And link up, Chopsticks came through and I just did the bass line for him. Doom. And he was like, oh, we laced it like quick. And I did the verse and it was cool. I heard it and I had a second verse, but I didn't like it enough. So I was like, yo, who is the person that can come through on this second verse that will just take it to the next level? Then I remember that when I was in London for my master's last year, actually, that's 29, last year. And there was a project I was listening to all the time. It was Tiggs' album. Yo, that project took me through school. Like when I was just going, I'll put that project from track 1 to the end, roll it again when I'm back. So that project inspired me a lot. And I was like, you know what, let me reach out to Tiggs. Because I've been following him, but we don't talk then. I'm just following him because I like his music. So I'm just low-key a fan. I messaged him, I was like, yo, I have this record that I want him to vibe on. And he was like, cool, I should send it to him. As I sent it to him, he messaged me back. He was like, bro, you got to give me some time. I want to make love to this song. I was like, yo, bro, I understood what he meant immediately he said that. I was like, yo, take your time, bro, take your time. Tiggs took like, I think 2 weeks. And I was almost giving up. It was almost time to submit the project. I was like, I just messaged him like, bro, you know what I mean? I need it right now. He was like, you get it. I was just on my laptop, I just got this mail. Yo, when I listened to it, I was running around the house, man. I was like, yo,
that's the
killed it, bro. He brought me memories of when I was listening to his project. Like the same vibe that he was giving me then. He brought it to the project. So I'm grateful to Tiggs. Literally one of my favorite artists in the whole world. Everybody knows that. Tiggs
is the guy with the bangers.
He's incredible. Bro, he's incredible. He's so incredible. I can't wait to come to the UK. I'm meant to be there this month to come shoot the video for Womanizer. So I can't wait. Please, Mr. Boris Johnson, please do what you got to do, bro.
You're preaching to the choir there. We know how you feel, man. Hopefully we can see that happen soon because honestly the tune is absolutely wicked. So I kind of want to take things to the opposite side of the spectrum of the album because, you know, you had Sean Kuti on that track as well on Rasta. So very, very different vibes and compared to Womanizer. How was that collaboration? You know, how was that working? Like that, because obviously given who his father is, like, how is that to stay true to the Afrobeat sound?
Yeah, I think what I wanted to do on this project, when people always put me on Twitter and be like, when they saw the track list, then they listened to the first one, Yaadman, they were like, yo, what are you up to, bro? Like, are you just taking the piss? I was like, literally, guys, this album I just came to flex. Like, it's no big deal. I just came to let loose and experiment because the way music has been in the last 1 year is like people have been playing it too safe. People are just playing what they think people want to hear, you know, the bounce, the melodies. So I was just like, you know what, fuck it, guys. Like, let's go hard. Like, this is why we're here. We might as well just go crazy. So this project is like the personification of Afro Zim, really. So you can see it starts with drill, goes to operator, which is like a old school retro bounce, like a Q-tip kind of bounce. Yeah, then he goes to Womanizer, which is like a proper dancehall, but still has the UK vibe to that. Then you go to Rasta, which is proper Afro beats, not even Afro beats. It's like Afro beats, Fela Kuti vibes, but with a modern day touch. Yeah. So you see Shehu Kuti, shout out Shehu Kuti for coming through on that record though. Like we linked up and it was mad vibes from day one. We just, when we met the first time, we just, you know, we didn't even record the first day. First day we met, we just smoked, gisted about the country, about his family, his father, everything. And it was just cool vibe. The second time I came, that's when we did the record and he came through on the horn, 6666. Shout out to the man, the big bird, Kuti. Shehu Kuti, I really appreciate you, man. So that's what I'm excited about Yaadman. Like it's a proper Afro Zim project. You get me? So from all these different genres I'm running you through, you know what I mean? It's exciting. Also, shout out to Sparks for the production of that Wicked. Shout out Sparks.
Well, I love that song. Like for me, that was just such an incredible sort of mix of, you know, the old school and the new school coming together. And I thought that you just delivered it fantastic. And the one song that really jumped out to me, very important message in this one, was Police and Thief. Now, I really love it because I love my old school reggae. And I noticed straight away on the lyrical side, Police and Thief, the Junior Mervyn song, the old sort of reggae roots.
You know the crazy thing? This is what I tell you about my music. Like, nobody has been able to get that sample. You know, everybody that's listened to it on the team, they haven't been able to spot that sample. And I'm excited that you just hit it straight. You just got the sample, right?
First thing, that Police and Thieves in the street, like straight. I've got the 45 on vinyl down here somewhere. That's one of my favorite like old school reggae songs of all time. So I love the fact that you had that influence on this record when you put that into the lyrics. So, but then taking that, for me, I loved it straight off the back of that. So I was like, right, I'm already hooked on this. So when I started hearing the lyrics as well, especially with the NSARS movement that's happened in Nigeria, like, you know, like how important was it to write that record?
Yeah. Yo, it's crazy because I wrote that record about 2-3 weeks before the NSARS protest started. It was just how I was feeling in the country, really. Like, because I wasn't around in the country last year a lot, last 2 years actually a lot. So when I was around and I was just feeling things firsthand, it was just like, bro. So this is what people go through every day. Like it's very personal to me. The song is very, because it was really, I'm just saying what's going on every day. Like I'm not gonna hide it and say, oh, everything is sweet and nice. It's like real stuff. Like what I'm saying is some police and thief in the streets, some of them are well white. Like you can't tell who is who. The politicians to the policemen killing innocent citizens, like even innocent citizens doing like, it's crazy. So it's just like you can't tell who is who. A person wearing white, a person carrying a gun, like it gets me down. That's why I had to put that record like the last song on the project, really, because it really gets me down. Because when I begin to think about my country, I just get emotional, I get sad because it could have been different. It could have been better. Like we're not even asking for, now we're just asking to stay alive, bro. Like we're really just asking to stay alive. We're not even asking for constant electricity or good roads. Just don't kill us. So that's what the whole NSARS is about. So that's why Police and Thieves is very important. And I'm just glad that the reception has been crazy so far.
Well, man, I think it's incredibly important that you wrote that song. And what I really love was then how it goes from that song into Land of Light, which is almost like a hopeful, uplifting message for the final song on the album.
Yes.
I feel that's definitely the approach you went for that one. So like, had you written that song after you'd written Police and Thieves?
No, actually. That song, when I wrote Police and Thieves before the NSARS, that song, I didn't even know I was going to make my album when Sudan were going through their own crisis. I think exactly a year before ours, where they were trying to get the the person in power out, where they had a long protest. It was a big deal when Sudan were going through that thing. So a lot of things on my timeline were coming from Sudan, like page and stuff. So I stumbled on a guy playing those guys. I'll send you the original video. This guy's playing that thing, and yo, that thing, it helped me through some dark times. Just listening to that, it was so soothing. Like I remember when I'm sleeping in the night, I'll put it on repeat, and it just goes over and over and over and over. It took me through sad times, so I just wanted to put in a project to see. I know that it can help someone get through a hard time also. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like I didn't even understand what they were saying then. Just listening to the music, it just caught me. And later on, when I was making the project, it only was right that that thing I had to share it with the world. So I spoke to them, some Sudanese artists. I spoke to them and I told them, oh, I want to use this record, I want to sample it. And they were like, yo, let's go ahead. So I just had to put the ending prayer at the end. But I mean, everything, they handled that record perfectly. So shout out to them. I appreciate Samani, Abu Kari, and Rashid. I appreciate three of them. They made wonderful music.
Absolutely, man. It's definitely the perfect way for the album to finish there as well. I felt it was the uplifting feel that we needed after, because this incredible body of work. I love that how it can go from when you start the project with Yaadman and end with Land of Light. Like they're so different ends of the spectrum, but I love how the body of work comes together as a story like that.
Appreciate, man.
As you ended it with an uplifting vibe, I know you know about uplifting music, and that's why we have to ask you what the top 5 records are for the Gully B show. This is how we do things like this every week, and I know that you've got a wicked top 5 selection to uplift the people today. So how do you want to start your top 5 selection? What's the first tune you want to draw for?
Top five. I think we're gonna kick it with the legend, the absolute legend, my favorite. That's Damian Marley.
Yeah, wicked.
Of all time. Welcome to Jam Rock. Everybody knows that's the classic. That's the one of the maddest records in dancehall history ever. So that record definitely shaped my life in a certain way, and it's only right that you gotta be in my top 5.
Absolutely wicked way to kick up the top 5. So I know that Damian Marley is someone you've always said you wanted to collaborate with. Like, do you remember the first time you heard Damian Marley?
Yo, I remember the first time I heard Damian Marley. It was definitely, I was in Jos. I don't remember the record, but it was on that Welcome to Jamrock project. That's when I heard Damian Marley actually. And I was like, what the hell am I listening to? Who is this guy? And he was just, and it was that same album had him and Bobby Brown record. Beautiful, here we go again. Oh man, I was like, yo, who is this guy that goes from Welcome to Jamrock, then he goes to that record, then he had a Pimpers Paradise on that album too, which was like my favorite song on the whole project. I was like, yo. So then I used to use like the Dixman, and I just put in Dixman on the road, put my headphones, and I'm just playing that album back to back. So he really shaped me as an artist. So it's clear for people to say, oh, how does Young L do dancehall music? I grew up listening to dancehall music, watching dancehall artists, you know what I mean, go back to back from Supercat to Vibes Cartel to DeMarco to everybody. Like I grew up listening to them. So I'm just only a product of African and dancehall vibes, really.
Man, well, I love that he created that influence on you, because you're definitely one of my favorite artists right now. So to know that Damian Marley was one of the influences, I can see that clearly as well in your lyrical content, because I'd say he's one of Jamaica's, top 5 artists of all time now at this point. Like people are saying he could probably rival his father if he wanted to at this point in his career.
Bro, he's close. His father, he will not even call his father in the conversation.
He's too legendary.
Marley in anybody's, I don't put him in a list of top 5. He has his own list.
Yeah,
it's just like when you talk about Fela Kuti, you don't put him with any other artist. You know what I mean? You just leave him there. Then you can do your list with other artists. There's some artists that are just not meant to be in the list, really.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that one. I think that's what happens when people ask me, who's your top 5 reggae? And I'm like, well, don't even include Bob because that's just obvious. You're just you're wasting a vote by having Bob because everyone knows Bob should be there. So he's everyone's top artist. So talk about top artists then. How do you want to draw for on your second pick of the top 5 today?
My second pick, top 5, is definitely I call him the godson of dancehall music, who is Popcorn. You get me? Like, I saw Popcorn grow up from when Vibes Cartel put him on Clocks.
Yeah.
To when he did his own Only Man She Won, all those records that he did. So I saw him climb from when he was just there. And I remember when I saw him there, I was like, yo, this nigga got vibes. And to where he is now. So always big up Popcorn. He put in the work. And one of the maddest songs that was actually playing on my way out a few days ago was Party Shot. Yo, that jam. That thing has start up any party, brother. Yeah, kickstart any party. Wow. Up in this row. Yo, that tune, bro. Wicked. Party Shot, man.
Absolutely incredible tune right there. And that's giving me that throwback party happy vibes. It's getting us through the lockdown, making us all happy again.
Summertime. Summertime, bro.
We could draw through the summertime stuff as well, because Popcorn has got a whole heap of hits that is just in that kind of genre as well. So how do you want to go forward now into your third pick of the Young L top 5 today?
Yeah, my next song is gonna be Chronics.
Yeah.
Chronics has a special place in my heart. You know what I mean? Chronics has a special place from when I heard him on the Major Lazer mixtape. That's the first time I heard Chronics, and I was blown away. I was like, yo, this is some reincarnation of some Bob Marley and shit. Like, what crazy vibes, you know what I mean? So, and when he now dropped his debut project, Chronology, super body of work. And the best song, my favorite song that I still put on my playlist today was I Know Love, because that song, it gets me anytime, man. It gets me anytime. The whole project, from Skanking Sweet to every other song on that project, wicked. But that one is my personal favorite. So this is Chronics number 3 with I Know Love.
And that one was actually a bonus track off the album as well. Now, that's why I thought it was so great that you picked that one, because it's not the obvious choice people would usually go for.
I was like, yo, this guy put this song as a bonus song. Imagine I didn't get to listen to this song. I love the whole project, but when I get on the album, I want to play that one first, then go around and come back to that one again, because it's such a beautiful song. Such a beautiful song.
Absolutely. Well, Young L, I know that you're a champion of versatility and of fusions and of trying new things. So I know that you've got something special lined up for your fourth pick today. What do you want to go for?
Yo, my number 4, or which would be number 2, whichever way forward to, will be the legend herself, Diana King. Diana King with Download, which is my favorite song from her. You know, I mean, I grew up listening to Diana King a lot. This is on the radio. Like, we didn't even have a CD or anything. I grew up like depending on the radio to tell me what to listen to reading. So Diana King, when that project came out, the radio used to play the Sugar song. She wants that sugar. That song. But when I now bought the CD and I found Download on that project, I was like, yo, keep it on a down low. Don't let nobody know. And so we creep and we try not to let it show. Oh, damn.
Man.
I was like, yo, tune. So that Diana King any day, like, he doesn't go past a month or 2. I don't go back to that project and I'm like, oof, super. So this is number 4 or number 2, Diana King with Download.
Absolutely loving that tune, and I love the collaborations that you saw Diana King do. When you think about, she's done collaborations with people like Bounty Killer and things like that, but then obviously everyone knows tracks like Shy Guy is one of our biggest hits, and that was in the R&B market as well. I think that Jamaican influence, the fusion style of hers is definitely an influence that you can see in your work. You can see how you've adapted the Jamaican style in an Afrobeats kind of taste as well. So, like, do you remember the first times you were listening to Diana King then?
Yo, I do. I was like a little boy, you know what I mean? But I think what I've always respected in artists is artists that are able to be fluid, and artists that are not stuck on a vibe like that. Oh, this is the kind of music this artist can do, and this artist cannot do this kind of music. So everybody that's I've called on my list, you can tell. Like Popcorn can do party shots and do everything is nice and literally go and do I know it's gonna be a good time. You know what I mean? Like I love those artists that can move around, that can vibe. Diana King, she'll do an R&B song, she'll do a reggae, she'll do a dance song, she'll do some retro vibe on the same song. That's how I grew up. So it reflects on my music. So shout out Diana King, one of my favorite female artists of all time, really.
Well, I'm so glad you picked it, which means that we've come down to the fifth and final pick of your top 5 today. Young L, what are we drawing for?
Yo, we're going for Vybz Kartel. Everybody know. That's on everybody's list. So, no long talk, brother. Shout out to Kartel. It's hard. It's very, very hard to choose a Kartel song because there's so many. There's a time I used to follow Kartel like every release. And there's a time where he was releasing so much, I couldn't catch up anymore. I couldn't catch up. Bro released a 150 track project. I was like, yo, I can't catch up, bro. I can't catch up. But one song that I always loved when it came out was School. It's because of the bounce and the way he wrote the song. It reminded me of when I heard Shabaran's Ting-a-ling-a-ling, dance all thing. It was the same way how Kartel came on that song. So it's such a tune and it's one of my songs. The video, I love the video so much. So Vybz Kartel School will be my number 1 and number 5, whichever way you want to see it.
And I love how you're saying like how Kartel sort of like rides over the rhythm in that track, like tuck in your shirt, like that kind of like how his lyrics just bounce across it sort of thing. And I feel as if that's something that you can see you do as well. I think on I think it was on Yaadman, there's a part where you can really hear the bass line kind of go up and up and how your voice follows that flow. Like I don't know anyone else who can do that other than you.
Yeah, man. It was a sick shout out to you, C, for coming up with that production and the bass line. It's I always tell you I'm a product of my environment. I'm a product of the music I grew up with. So all these guys that are on my list are people that I grew up listening to. So I'm only where I am because of the vibes that I got from different people and music in general. So yeah, big up. I'm excited for Yaadman. I'm excited for how people are taking it. Songs like Yaadman, even the songs like Boy with the legend Shank. It reminds me of the School Vybz Kartel. It's like proper dance hall vibe. And shout out to everybody that's fucking with the record and the project in general.
Well, I absolutely love that album. I know it's one of the best albums right now. I know everyone right now, we're going to play a few of the tracks on today's show as well, but if people haven't heard it yet, you need to go make sure you save the whole album. Don't just add the one song to your Spotify or Apple Music playlist or anything. Listen to the full album because you need to hear from start to finish. There's so many different vibes on there and it's something that Young L can just deliver like no one else can. So, Young L, with the album out now, things are very exciting. What does the rest of 2021 look like? Do we see remixes in the pipeline? Is there videos coming? What can we expect to come from Young L?
I'm gonna do a deluxe version where I'm gonna put a lot of remixes from this project because there's some people that I know that are gonna they're gonna give me sick verses and they're gonna come up with different vibes. Songs like Operator, even Yaadman, even Womanizer might have some remixes. But right now I want to focus on doing the visuals for this project because this project is very visually driven. When you listen to Yaadman, you can see how we could translate, myself and Boy Director, we could translate the video and you see the sync with the audio. So I'm very big on my visuals and this is what I want to do on this project. So I'm going to focus on the video. So that's why I have to come to UK soon to link up with my man Teeks because that's one of the songs I have to shoot a video for. Also the one with Sean Kuti obviously has to get a sick video. So that's what I'm focused on now before I talk about the remake. So yeah, you have listened. What's your favorite song now though?
Favorite song right now? It's a very hard one because as I said, there's so many different styles. So, Police and Thief, I love, number one, because of the lyrical content. It's a really emotive song, but also the Junior Mervyn sample that you used in that as well, or the influence you used in that. So I love that one. Womanizer though, I'm the UK guy, so having Tiggs on that track as well, that's a huge tune. And Cool and Ease, that's another one in that dancehall style that I really love as well. So it's hard to pick a favorite for me, to be honest. There's some incredible tracks.
I love your dancehall style, man. You're proper proper in there. Like for you to quickly just get, because a lot of Nigerians, they love dancehall music, but they're not like 100% in there, so they don't know like the name of the artist. Of them, like for you to spot the police and thief sample easily, like means that you're in there. You get me? So shout out to you. I'm gonna ask for your playlist soon. You gotta be hooking me up with some of your playlists, man.
I've got you. Don't worry, man. I've got plenty of that to share with you
Some
as well.
old school retro vibes.
Man, that's what I love as well. Like, I love that classic sort of 60s, 70s, and 80s reggae dancehall roots as well. It's the new school, man. So as soon as I heard the Police and Thieves sample, I jumped straight on that, and then that's what drew me into the lyrical content as well, which was, as you said, you wrote just before the NSARS protest, so you can really see how that translates across. So I think it's an absolutely incredible body of work. We're going to jump into a few of the tracks right now on the show because there's so many incredible tracks on here.
Appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you so much, Young L, for passing through the Gully B show here on Represent Radio today. In the meantime, where can everyone find you on social media? What's the socials we need to know?
On social media, it's Young L Mr. Marley. That's YUNGL MRMARLEY. So that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up. Tell me you were watching me on Gully B show, and I'm probably follow back straight up.
There you have it, guys. Young L, thank you so much for passing by the Gully B show today. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show. Guys, the Yaadman Kingsize album is out now. Make sure you go and save it everywhere. Download it, buy it, do what you have to do, because this is an album you need for 2021 and beyond. Def.
Thank you for having me, bro.
My pleasure. Let's jump into a few of the tracks off the album right now. Keep it locked, guys. It's Gully B here on Represent Radio.